as you walk over us.
Mary Spender is a British singer-songwriter who came into my radar roughly a year and a half ago via YouTube. She struck me immediately as a humble, yet ridiculously talented artist who is maximizing the tools at her disposal to give her music career a fair chance of success. Mary's songwriting is superb, as is her singing, but frankly, it was her guitar playing that initially caught my attention, because at the ripe age of 27, she has developed a unique and identifiable style. As part of the research I'm doing for a documentary focused on gender bias in the music industry, I reached out to Mary and requested an interview. She was graceful and kind enough to accept, and although the intention was to get content for the documentary, I decided to make a standalone video of the interview as I think the information she provided merits it. If you are a young girl even considering getting into music, this interview is for you. Please watch it and listen to Mary's advice, and whatever you do, don't let yourself ever be discouraged by any notion that because you are a girl, you somehow don't belong in the music club. It is every bit as yours as it is for boys. So pick up a guitar and start playing and find out for yourself the amazing rewards music can provide.
I'd grown accustomed to a relax when I'm in your arms.
All right, cool. So Mary, thanks again for doing this. This is really awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I have been following you for actually probably about a year and a half now.
Really?
Through your YouTube channel, yes,
Okay.
and all your different activities. And it's always struck me how you're an artist, a young artist, at least compared to a 52-year-old, that is doing things right and really giving yourself the opportunity to succeed and knocking on all the right doors and leaving all the doors open to do that. I was wondering if you could maybe give us a little bit of background about how you got into music originally.
Yeah, well, I was very lucky. My parents, although they weren't musical, they noticed that I was, and so they found a good school that was musical. I got a scholarship there, and I started from a very early age. So I started singing lessons at like 6, and piano, and then I moved over to violin, and then just did classical music up until about 12 when I discovered the guitar from
Right.
boys in my class playing guitar, and then I just sort of performing felt very natural because of the music that I was doing, and I really wanted to be in a band and front it and everything like that. So the progression was quite easy, but yeah, getting to this sort of stage, and then even the sights I've sort of set for myself. It's just keeping each day as is, and just working hard, and just focusing on goals, and just continue to go.
Was it guitar and singing from the get-go?
In terms of performance as a singer-songwriter, yeah. I never tried piano, even though I played piano for a lot longer. I really just wanted to stand up and sing and play guitar.
Right,
Yeah.
but I found that as a performer, if I were ever to sing, get in front of a mic without my guitar, I'd feel naked, so I don't think I could even
I'm
do
the
it.
same. I'm the same. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I told you a little bit about the documentary that I want to do regarding, as a backdrop, I read an article where they stipulated that young girls were getting discouraged from getting into the music business because they're overall treated as girls, not as musicians. So I was wondering if, from your perspective, have you ran into that kind of issue in your career?
So luckily, I've never been stopped by anyone for doing what I wanted to do. The schools I was at were very supportive, and the people that I met. But there have been a few occasions when I've been gigging and people are like, "Oh, you play guitar well for a girl," and things like that, just snide comments. We're backstage right now. I wanted, actually, in my guitar shop that I would visit every Saturday morning just down the street from my house, I would go there every Saturday and ask for a job, and they never gave me one. And I felt like it wasn't because I wasn't any more qualified or underqualified in comparison to the boys who got the jobs, but I just felt like it was definitely me not being a boy.
Right.
But I can't confirm that. I can't confirm that they were just like, "Oh no, you're a girl, so you're definitely not getting the job." Maybe the timing wasn't right and that sort of stuff. But
so let me ask you this: do you consider that gender blindness, for lack of a better term, is something that the music industry should strive for, or do you think there is room for women to express themselves as women as musician and men as musician, and it shouldn't be a big issue? It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question. And there's no right answer.
Yeah, I think, essentially, people should just see people as their, the talent and the songs and the music and their, how they work, and that it should be gender blind, but it isn't. So, I think some festivals that I won't name need to look at the lineup and be like, okay, this is male heavy, and not just male heavy, but white male heavy. Like, there are other bands that are happening that aren't just like, 4 boys in a band. Like, there are other things going on. So just be aware of that, learn about other music that's coming up. Ask people, ask your audience. If you're a festival or a promoter, see who's out there, because just because you don't know them doesn't mean that they're not out there and good. And I think it's a very tough question and it's a tough thing to solve, because that would solve everything in terms of inequality or the gender pay gap or whatever.
And it's a very current issue, especially in the U.S. right now. It's a huge issue.
Yeah.
So I got 2 more questions for you, because I know you're short on time, and they may be the same question asked differently. The first one is, if you could look back at little young Mary at whatever age you started, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give her as far as getting into music?
Be patient. I think I was definitely not patient for a long time. I wanted to rush things. I wanted to be famous age 17, and now I'm just so glad that I wasn't. And even now, with just a small audience, there's a lot to take in, and it's a lot to get used to as it even grows. So just chill, it will happen.
Right.
If I could see little Mary.
That's good.
I don't know.
So a similar question is, if you could give advice to young girls that want to get into this crazy industry, and it is a crazy industry. I always say that the most frustrating thing about the music industry is dealing with musicians who are just a crazy lot for the most part. What advice would you give young girls who are actually considering? Because I'm thinking of the young girls who happen to wander into a Guitar Center and go, do I want to get a guitar or not? And those are the girls that are being discouraged. It breaks my heart to even realize that's happening. So what can we say to those girls?
Well, first of all, if you do find walking into a guitar shop daunting, buy a guitar online, feel it out, and then if it's not right, send it back. Don't just accept it, send it back. And figure out the guitar for you, because that's very important. And girls are built differently to men, so there are certain things that you might like or might not like, so don't be put off by just one guitar not feeling comfortable, and therefore all guitars aren't comfortable. But otherwise, just be confident in yourself and just own it. There is no difference between teenage boys and girls in ability to play guitar. Both can do it exactly the same. It's just the amount of time and effort that you put into it. I think if you do get any snide comments from men, just know that it's the problem of that guy. It's nothing to do with you. It's not to do with you at all. That guy has probably just been, burnt too many times by women. So.
Every day was such an effort just to get